In this exercise, we'll be implementing validation in our gradebook application. Our objectives for this exercise: we're going to start by customizing the assignment validation exception to support message stacking. We'll implement an assignment validator interface. We'll implement an assignment validator service component. We'll implement validation in the assignment service. We'll implement the feedback message dispatching on the controller layer. We'll implement showing feedback on the user interface. And finally, we'll test the server-side validation, implement client-side validation on the user interface, and test the client-side validation. The way we'll do that: we'll customize the assignment validation exception to support message stacking. We'll implement an assignment validator interface, export the com.liferay.training.gradebook.validator package, implement an assignment validator service component, implement validation in the assignment service. We'll implement feedback messages dispatching on the controller layer. We'll import the session errors class. We'll test the server-side validation. We'll implement client-side validation. And finally, we'll test that client-side validation. As you can see, I've opened up Liferay Dev Studio, and I have my gradebook server running, along with all my modules synced up. Now, the assignment validation process can encounter multiple issues. For example, content can be both too long and have illegal characters at the same time. It would be convenient to provide feedback to the user of all the issues encountered at once. So, in order to support message stacking, we have to customize the generated assignment validation exception class that we defined in the service.xml. So, we'll go to our gradebook API module, and we'll open up our assignment validation exception class. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement a new constructor in this class, and we'll get that within our code snippets from our exercise instructions. All right, make sure we save that file. Next, we're going to create a package within our main Java folder. We're going to call that package com.liferay.training.gradebook.validator. Within that new package, we're going to go ahead and create a new interface. And we're going to call that assignment validator. And we'll go ahead and implement according to our code snippet. Go ahead and save. Next, we're going to open up the bnd.bnd file within our Gradebook API module. And we'll go ahead and add our com.liferay.training.gradebook.validator package to our export packages. Click OK. And you can see it's been added to our list of export packages there. So next we're going to go ahead and create yet another new package. And this package is going to be called com.liferay.training.gradebook.validator. And within that class, or within that package, rather, we'll create a new class. Which we will call assignment validator impl. All right, and now we'll go ahead and implement the code according to our code snippet. Cool. Make sure we save. We'll go ahead and move over to our service module. Specifically, we'll be looking at our assignment local service impl. Now within our class, we're going to go ahead and add a reference at the end of our class that you can find in your code snippets in your exercise instructions. And we'll make sure that we import that. as well as our assignment validator class. There we go. Now we have updated that class and added our reference. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to start adding validator components to a few of our method declarations. So we will go under Add Assignment right after our portal exception. We will add the code snippet. Make sure that lines up properly. Save that. Next, we'll add a validation call to the update assignment. Which is right here. We'll go ahead and add our code snippet right there. Make sure it lines up properly. And save. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and rebuild our service. So we'll go over here into our gradebook module and we'll run build service. So once you see that service builder is done, we can go ahead and move on. So validation is now implemented on the service layer. As we call the services on the controller layer through the MVC commands in the gradebook web module, we have to pass the feedback messages from the service layer to the user interface there. For transporting the messages to the user interface, we'll be using the session messages object for success messages and the session errors object for the error messages. You've probably noticed the default success message the platform sets when you add an assignment, and we'll silence that because we'll be using our own custom message. So now we're going to go ahead and head over to the gradebook web module. And we're looking for the gradebook portlet Java class. Here we're going to add the following component property, which you can see in your code snippet, but it'll be javax.portlet.initparam.add process action success action equals false. So we'll go ahead and add that. Make sure we add in a comma so we don't run into any syntax errors. Now we're going to modify the do process action methods in the three MVC action command classes, calling the service to set the success and error messages for the user interface. So we'll go ahead and update the code for all of those MVC action command classes according to the code snippets from our exercise instructions. So we'll begin with the add assignment MVC action command. And we'll implement according to our code snippet. Okay, once you've added that, go ahead and save. And make sure you resolve any needed imports. And save once more. All right, now we'll move on to our edit assignment MVC action command. Where we will do more or less the same thing. Make sure to use those code snippets from your exercise instructions. Cool. Once you have those in there, you'll go ahead and make sure you resolve any missing imports. And resave the file. And finally, we'll move over to our delete assignment MVC action command. Where we'll do the same thing. Once again, updating our code with that validation snippets. Sure, we save. The last thing we need to do for displaying the error messages from the service layer is to implement the user interface. We'll be using the Liferay UI tag library for this purpose. So we'll go ahead and add an import for the session errors class for showing the error message details. So we're going to go ahead and go over to init.jsp. And we'll add that import within our code snippet. Next, we'll add Liferay UI tags to our view.jsp file just after the include file equal init.jsp. So right here up at the top. And we will add those tags according to how they are in our code snippets. Make sure to save. Next, we'll be adding those tags into our edit assignment.jsp. So at this point, server-side validation has been implemented, but now we're going to go ahead and add our client-side validation. So within our edit assignment.jsp, we're going to add some validator tags within our AUI input name equal title tag, which is right here. So we'll go ahead and implement according to the code snippets in your exercise instructions. And we'll go ahead and save that. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and test those validations within the UI.